So let's get this going. Our old friend Carl Canedy, the Rods. What's up, my friend?
How are you guys? Good to see you again.
We're doing well. We're doing well. So you're giving it another go. The 10th studio, Rattle the Cage. You guys don't stop. Congratulations on the new release.
Thank you very much. In fact, yesterday, here we go. Let me see if you can see my drums. Yesterday, I laid down a track for the new Rods album. We're already almost six songs in to the new Rods album. To the next Rods album.
Wow, you guys are scooting along. You're working like it's 1984 again.
Like we're desperate men.
Carl, 45 years together, 10th studio album. Like, talk about putting Rattle the Cage together. Like, when did you start songwriting? How far back did you go with crafting the songs? And like, how do you and the guys get together and record these days in 2023 for a release in 2024?
Well, David he mentioned in an interview we did recently, I had sent him some lyrics to Rattle the Cage. Sometimes you just got to rattle the cage and some other lyrics and the song title. And then that's what's kind of started the ball rolling. He started writing and then he wrote like crazy. And then I sent him Shockwave, some lyrics for Shockwave, but he wrote every day. It was like, I got another one. I got another one. I got another one. He was like a machine spitting out these songs. He's unbelievable. So once we started, it seemed like it just went, but it took time because we record now. I record here in my little room, my studio room. And so I'll get it. David will do a track. We'll arrange it. And then they'll do a click track for me. And then I'll get it here and I'll put the drum tracks down to it. And I'll send it back and they'll add their parts. So that's kind of how it goes now. And we've done it for so long that it's a process that's pretty seamless for us. It's not, we all would love to go to a studio and record. And today you can record with, you can do scenes and different takes so that I could go in and we can record live. I could be on a click track and I could be playing through, let me play that chorus again. And the engineer could take all of that and assemble it later. We don't have that luxury. So we're really, this is the way we have to do it because otherwise we wouldn't be able to afford to make an album. Would be very
if I could ask, Carl, where are you guys located? Are you all in similar areas or are you spread out?
David is in Cortland. Freddie is in Ithaca, which is very close to Cortland, like 10 miles or something, 12 miles. And then I'm in Scranton. I'm the one who is an hour and 15 minutes away. So I'm the one who makes the drive to rehearse. And just to give myself some love, if it weren't for me being willing to make that drive all the time, there would be no Rods. So God bless me. Just saying.
You got your hand in some other projects. I'm sure that Buck 15 ride you're on the phone doing rod business or personal business. So it's like the office on the road.
It goes so fast. It's 81. And unless it's bad weather or heavy traffic, it's easy.
Beautiful. Written a song about it on the new album. There's a song on there which we'll get to. Maybe that's about your up and down Route 81.
No, but maybe we'll talk about the song and we'll see if I remember that.
Well, let's get into the new one. 10 tracks, opening track, Now and Forever. Cool drum fill to open it. Tell us about this song. Why is it the opening song? Does it set the theme for the album?
This is an interesting thing because you just mentioned 45 years together. David and I have been. So Freddie being the new guy, David had a great suggestion. He said, we were going back and forth. David and I were going back and forth about sequencing. And David said, why don't we let Freddie sequence it? Freddie had already had a sequence idea, he said. So we said, okay. So we just said, put our hands up and said, it's all yours. You sequence it. So Freddie is the one who sequenced the album, and he did a great job. Really, we're really happy with it, what he did. So that's why Freddie loves that song, and he felt it should be the opening track.
That one feels like a show opener to me. It's like I sense a little bit of Deep Purple's Highway Star, like the build to it, like and it's also like the message behind it, that brotherhood of metal, the brotherhood of musicians together. It won, like, I could definitely see this one being like a concert opener.
I agree. I don't know if it will be. We're talking about, because we're going to Australia in March, so we're talking about putting the set list together now. We're talking about that song is definitely on the list, be considered for Australia for those shows.
What's the Australia tour? I see Ravens in there, or Anvil. Tell us about the shows.
Well, I'm the worst because I read all the dates and then I never forget them. But we're doing 4 shows in Australia with Ross the Boss, Anvil, the Rods, and Butterfly. And I don't really know a lot about Butterfly, but I know they're a good band. So,
Ross the Boss, it's the solo. It's away from the Man-O-War. Is it what music is he playing?
Well, he's doing Ross the Boss, so I'm sure he's doing some Man-O-War, the songs that he wrote, the early, the killer Man-O-War tunes in the early days. I'm sure we'll be doing some of those, but I don't really know what his set list will consist of. But, it's Ross the Boss and whatever he happens to be doing these days on tour.
I saw those dates. I think it's in March or early April you guys are going over. So that's a long flight. Good luck on that.
It's a long flight. Yeah. We're talking.
How does one get booked in Australia? I mean, I know a lot of metal bands go down there, but Carl, tell us about like your fan base in Australia, or how does a promoter put this thing together, right?
It's interesting because apparently we have fans in Australia. Who knew? Suddenly, once we were booked, now the promoter, actually Rob Reiner called me and said, "Hey, the promoter's interested in bringing you over to Australia. So if you're interested." So he put me in touch with the promoter, and then we discussed it and negotiated. But after we were announced, it was amazing how many Australian fans reached out. And he said he's had a tremendous outpouring from Australian fans. So I'm hopeful that it'll be a really great show for us, a great tour. 4 days. Plus, we're good friends with Ross. I love the guys in Anvil. I mean, it's just going to be old home week.
That's awesome. Now, do you do any shows along the way, like you stop in another country and connecting flights and play a gig in, I don't know, Indonesia or something like that? Or is this just in and out of Australia?
No, we were talking, it was discussed about doing some dates in Japan. And then there was some other dates about, what's South Korea possibly. And, but it didn't happen. It's expensive and things are crazy over there. South Korea is a little wary these days about what's going on with North Korea.
It's interesting that you mentioned that. Last spring, we were down at Rockin' Pod in Nashville, and Stevie Rochelle from Tough. Remember the old 80s band Tough? There was a glam hair metal package that went over there, and he was telling us, sort of like similar to this package that you guys are doing. The promoter reached out to him because that audience just gobbles it up. They want that. So it was 4 dates, Brisbane, whatever, those 4 major cities.
Adelaide, Sydney, and one other.
And Stevie was saying, outside the fact that it's a day and a half to get there, it's no different. It's just a 4-date little tour, but it financially it has to make sense. So to expand on what Walt was saying, sure, you'd like to shoot over and do some other gigs, but it costs a fortune. And
it does. God bless the promoter is all I can say. Rob's a good guy. He's been very generous.
Hey, Carl, before we get back to the new album, I want to make sure we talk a little bit about Freddie. So Freddie, I think this is his first contribution on a recorded record, although he's played live with you guys. He has some history with Dee Snider when he had the band called Widowmaker, as well as Quiet Riot. But how did Freddie arrive into the Rods?
Well, Freddie, I just noticed on Facebook that Freddie and I have been today, I think it popped up. We've been Facebook friends for 13 years. Go figure. I had no idea. But Freddie lives in Ithaca, which is close to Cortland. So we have mutual friends. You know, the music business is very incestuous. And Freddie and I played on, first of all, David has an album called Hail and Farewell, which is a great album. I always rave about it, that I played drums on. And Freddie played bass on. So we had worked together with that. Then Held Hostage, I was doing some guest drumming spots with Held Hostage. And they brought Freddie in, asked about Freddie, and Freddie came in and we did a couple of dates together and we clicked. And so when it came time to, like, during COVID and Gary, we were waiting for Gary to decide when he was coming, not going to resign or hold to his, you know, his resignation. Finally, when he did, the most logical choice was Freddie. We asked him and he was all on board. And it's been the best thing. I wish we had done this 10 years ago or more with Freddie. So I can't say enough good about it. He's such a great guy, great bass player. He and I work so well together. Just the best. And he's a great partner. For me, I do a lot of the managerial aspects, and Freddie has really taken on big help for me.
Did he play with you last spring and summer when you had those selected dates in Chicago?
He did. He played all those dates. In fact, the first date we played Rose Hall, which was, I don't know how long ago, but a while now, a year or so. Freddie, that was his first date, and it's out live at Rose Hall, on that Live at Rose Hall CD the Rods have.
Yeah.
That's Freddie.
Yeah, when Carl, I had seen you up at the Chance in May with Riot Act.
Right.
Right. And it's a shame we never actually got to say hi to each other in the flesh, but that's how it goes. But that was great shows. It was tight. The rhythm section was really good, and you know, you guys look like you were really in the pocket up there. And as we know now, the Chance has closed its doors for good. So I can say that my last experience at the Chance, seeing you guys.
Wow. So the Rods closed the Chance. I don't know if I like that. It was a great place, really. It's a shame. And now the developer is making apartments and condos or something. So
it was just one of those places. You walked in the door, it kind of smelled like stale beer and old cigarettes, and it was dark and cold and drafty, and it smelled metal, man, like you were supposed to be there, right?
That's what makes it great. I love playing those kind of places. It's down and dirty, you know?
The song Hell or High Water, I like that one because I love the vintage sounding main riff, and it does, you know, I hear that Deep Purple, even a little bit of old Whitesnake in there. Really, really good, strong chorus in the solo. But the song Wolves at the Door, that one has that Dave tone right to it, the flanger, whatever it is behind it. It just has that signature guitar sounds of it. Great melodic chorus, strong head beat track. But I'm struggling to understand what the lyrics are behind it. Talk about that song. Like, what is that song all about?
Well, let's go back to Hell or High Water, because that's the first song. Freddie brought in the riff and the title. So we started working on that and jamming it. And then, of course, David took the song and, finished the song. Wolves at the Door is, it's hard for me to speak to these lyrics because David wrote all the lyrics except for the two songs I contributed and, of course, Hell and High Water. So, it's to take away from that was we'd have to ask David, quite honestly. Okay. Even though I could surmise and, but I won't.
Now, well, a song like Cry Out Loud, right? I like this one because it's got a groovy, cool open. The bass opens real groovy. And it kind of has that traditional metal march to it, which we all love. And it's synonymous with power metal bands such as The Rod. And what I like about your little contribution, it's got that little militarian tap towards the end. So another good one that fits right in on the album. John, what about some of the other tracks, our favorites?
Well, you can't go wrong with a song that's titled Metal Highways. That's awesome. Nice, what are my notes? Rapid one and killer fast drumming. Live and Let Die with heavy metal. It has the spirit. Where'd that come from? Is that a Freddie contribution?
No, that's all. Everything else was David. David was so prolific. Like I said, he was cranking out songs so fast. And Metal Highway was one of the songs that I wanted to put closer to the front. I thought at the top of it, but it works where Freddie put it. And but I really like that song. I think that's really strong, and hopefully it won't go unnoticed. And thank God you guys listened to it and liked it, because sometimes you get buried in a CD and it's 8 tracks in or something, and a lot of people don't have the patience, unless they let it run, anymore. It used to be everybody would listen top to bottom with rapt attention, and now it's it's not easy to do. People don't have the time, so I'm glad you did. Thanks.
But I think it's also, though, Carl, it's a conscious effort by the band and the artist. You're writing songs and they're your own, right? But you place 10 songs on here, they all fall in that 3.5 to 4 minutes, 5 minutes mark, the whole CD is maybe 40, 45 minutes, whatever it is. You did a good job at making sure you presented the material in the right order and that you're capturing the attention of the listener for the listener to stay with you from front to back. Right? Some of these artists, all long albums, 65, 70 minutes, 15 songs. And I think that one, to your point, is you do lose the listener at times, right?
It's a lot. It's very demanding to ask somebody to listen that long. And I think Freddie did a good job of making sure that each song leads to the next. And so I think it makes it good. I think the album is 48 minutes, so it's reasonable.
Would
you could fold your laundry in that amount of time.
Yeah. Well, seeing that Freddie handled the sequencing, is there anything you would do different on the sequencing? You mentioned Metal Highways higher up in the order. Is there?
I would have put that. My sequence order was different from his, but once he did it, I really loved it. So now I wouldn't change it. But initially I had moved it up. My sequence order was. Metal Highways maybe came 6th or something, closer to the front. And, I like the fact that these days so many people front load their albums. They'll take the best 4 songs, they'll shelve them together at the front, and then as the album goes on, the material maybe isn't quite as strong. Rather than presenting it as a package, they'll just try to find those 4 or 5 songs that front load it and leave it at that. And I'm glad we didn't do it. Freddie did a good job of balancing it out. So there's something to discover as you go through the CD. You're going to discover some strong tracks further down the line.
Carl, I would agree. When you get to tracks 8 and 9, Play It Loud and Shockwave, you mentioned Shockwave earlier, was one of your contributions, but you're right. Those, to me, get stronger. And I just love the simple chorus line in Play It Loud and play it proud. Like that one's like a fist pumper. I could easily see that one in the live set. And then Shockwave is like your showcase song, big drumming, great jamming up front, heavy and fast. And that one, I almost closed my eyes and I imagine that one live too, where you open up and you do a big Carl Canedy, classic 80s, loud drum solo in the middle. And then you do the outro and you finish off the song. So talk a little bit about those tracks.
Well, my motto has always been, and I do have a little meme prepared, this says, if you think I'm going to play, if I play a fill, stop playing. And if you think I'm going to play a fill, stop playing. That's just the basic directions for the band members. So, Shockwave's a great opportunity. And David writes songs. He was a drummer, and we've been playing 45 years, and he seems to write these songs that give me a lot of opportunity to shine. Sometimes so much opportunity to shine that I struggle finding parts. But it's a what can I say? It's a good thing to have a problem like that. So, but and what was the other part of the question? Now I got sidetracked thinking about how cool my parts are.
Well, just saying that like a song like Play It Loud.
And I'm kidding. I'm kidding for anybody who thinks that was a serious statement. It was not. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, but I would say this. I mean, we're jumping a little bit all over, but to your point of your drumming, when I did see the show at the Chance, you did the drum solo. It was a bit of a thin crowd. I'm not going to lie, but I remember a few of the guys I was around with, we looked around and during your solo and we said, holy crap, man, he's playing like he's in front of the Download Festival in London in front of 80,000 people. He's not doing a drum solo in front of 300 people at the Chance, which I appreciated that. So it's a positive.
Well, I appreciate that. I have to say, I am proud of the fact that And I say this for David too, and I think that's the same for Freddie, although I haven't known Freddie for 45 years, but for the time I've known him on stage. But David and I, it doesn't matter if there are 2 people or 20,000, we play the same. It's the same, balls out. We don't dumb it down. And I think that's why we have some fans who've stuck with us, because, as you pointed out, they appreciate the fact that our effort's there. It doesn't, like a lot of bands go, yeah, the crowd sucked. It was a bad show because the crowd sucked. I'm like, well, that's not how I gauge my shows. I gauge my shows as I'm warming up, I'm making sure I'm ready to go, and they give it 100%. I don't care who's there. It's 1 million people or nobody. It's the same show. So thank you for noticing that. I appreciate it.
Welcome. You're welcome.
Going into this release, you have 3 videos, the title track, and then Play It Loud and Shockwave. It looks like it was a soundstage booking, and you got them all out of the way. Tell us about the videos, because they're well done. Excellent editing, excellent imagery in them. Looks very modern. Tell us about it.
Thank you. And by the way, I want to mention this first, that we have a new video coming for Now and Forever. And we'll be seeing our first edit should be showing up tomorrow.
Let me get my Sharpie out. Now and Forever?
Now and Forever. So that video will be coming next, hopefully prior to the 19th for the release day. So my buddy Jim Creed and Colleen Masterkova, they were opening for Quiet Riot at the Chance in Elmira. Now, we were booked there. I had booked us at the L not the Chance, the L in Elmira. So they were opening for Quiet Riot. So they said, come up, sit in. So I went to Elmira and I watched them, and man, Hair Nation with Jim Crean. Now, Jim Crean, he sings for the Appice Brothers, the whole Appice thing. And he also does he sings for the Vinny, what is it called? The Sabbath Wars or whatever.
Yeah, that's Vinny's Sabbath, the Sabbath Nights.
Sabbath, right. Sabbath Nights. Okay. Good title. Good name. So anyway, he's a great singer, but I was blown away because he came out and he controlled the crowd. They were going nuts for him. It was amazing. Amazing. He is definitely a showman and a great singer. So anyway, I went up and I sat in on a song, and I was looking around going, this is a great venue for a video. Perfect. So I discussed it with Adam Bunce, the then manager, the next day, and agreed that we would come back after our gig and we would shoot the video there. So we had a digital backdrop and our crew, and it was, it went well. It was easy to do because everything was there: lights, monitors, stage, our crew set up, and away we went, and it was good.
Now Jim's a Buffalo guy, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah, because I've seen Hair Nation a few times. First time I saw them, they were opening for Last in Line years, like 3 or 4 years ago. So that connection, and yeah, you're right. He, takes control of the crowd. He brings the show along, adds energy, and let's admit it, Carl. A lot of people are going to see these shows are in the higher demos. You're hoping the younger kids come, and you get them there. You want them to participate. So that's cool. Because it looks very LA or no,
the totally modern facility. Really well done, multi-million-dollar facility, and it's a shame it's closed now, but it was fantastic. Everything was state of the art.
The video itself, Carl, with a storyline, not the performance part of it, but there's a lot of great imagery in there. It's pretty intense, pretty serious stuff. The press notes also, you brought the story to it's in the press notes. So tell us about your inspiration as to why you chose the title for the song and the title for the album, Rattle the Cage.
Well, the title for the album, the working title had been Shockwave. So that had been the working title for quite a while. And then, and that was from early on. So, but then once I came up with the lyrics for Rattle the Cage and sent them to David, suddenly we realized the song was really great and it would be a great title for the album. And And my friend Brian Reevy, who's been our friend, been my friend, especially for forever, he had a good idea. And he said, why don't you go with the three-headed dog and have that dog chewing its way out of a metal cage? That would be really cool. I was like, yeah, that's actually a really good idea. So I passed it along, and our first rendering was not exactly what we were looking for. And then Freddie's lifelong friend, a brother from another mother, he's a graphic artist. And so he said to Mark Rizzo, hey, Mark, we need a cover based on this idea. And Mark immediately came back with this almost completed. Like we had a minor tweak. I think he went back and tweaked it on his own. And the first ones, as I pointed out, I thought the first ones looked too cute. You can't have snarling dogs that look kind of puppy-like. And not that they really did, but they were, they need to be mean. But he was fast and came back with this image. And we think it's one of our best covers since the one that Les Edwards did with the three-headed dog with Cerberus. So we love the cover. So it just made sense to, once we had that image. So that's how we came up with, Rattle the Cage as the title track and switched it from Shockwave.
So it's pretty cool. Well, I like the title. It's pretty cool. In kind of a funny note, I wanted to ask a question again. In the press notes, they sent us some images of you guys. And one of the images is the three of you sitting in what looks to be like this bougie warehouse of, I don't know, maybe it's like an Amazon warehouse, and there's shit all over the place. And you guys are sitting around with feet up on a bunch of furniture that doesn't match. It's not very metal, Carl. So what's up? Well, listen, what's behind that photo?
Well, we bootleg as, we do picking for Amazon. In fact, Walt, I have to tell you, you need to be a little more discreet on some of your orders. I've packed a couple of those, which I have sent to the house. But no, that's Roger Teases. And I never know how to pronounce his name, but anyway, Roger's been doing our photography for years, and that's where his studio is. It used to be a dress factory in Cortland corset factory or dress factory. And so that's where his studio is. So that's outside of his actual nice studio. And it's just basically a warehouse. So we were hanging out, and he just snapped the picture. And there's another photo, which I wanted by the wall. Well, there's a beam, and I wanted, let's try a photo here. And they weren't my favorite photos, but they were kind of cool, basic takes. And that's what Massacre sent out.
So January 19th, Rattle the Cage on Massacre Records. How can people get it? Everywhere? Is there an online? Go to therods.com.
Go to therods.com. Go to my Facebook page or the official Rods Facebook, the Rods official. I can't remember the name. Mm-hmm. But if you go to my name, David or Freddie, it's there. And today I saw a whole list of where you can purchase it. But you can go to bestbuy.com, amazon.com. It will all pop up. Just type in the name. So it's there everywhere now. It's all in place. And hopefully people will still have time to pre-order it, because pre-sales are really important for us. So the more pre-sales, if you're going to buy it, all I can say is please do us a favor and purchase it prior to the 19th, because that will help us. Because once the 19th hits, then all the sales kick in, and that's important to chart. So if you're going to buy it, then buy it early. If not, then buy it whenever you like. But if you are, please do us a favor.
Explain that a little more thoroughly. Why is the pre-sale so important versus the day after?
Well, because the day of the release, all the pre-sales are counted in. And so that's what's going to hit the charts. So if your pre-sales are high, you're going to chart. And now after that, you're talking about trickling in and whatever's coming in. But that first buildup is, your biggest shot to get charted.
Got it. So then they turn around and could use that higher charting, and I got it. Because it's so hard these days. It doesn't carry the same weight,
No. I mean, you see bands who go, we charted on 17 different, and those charts you can chart on lots of things, but they're not particularly significant. And, anything is great. I'm not knocking it, but there are certain charts, especially in Europe, that would be important for us. So if, that's all I ask, that people, if they are going to purchase, please purchase your pre-sale now. And it's also, it's just, I have to say that the record label's been doing a great job. And we're going to radio now. Muncie is going to radio for Rattle the Cage. So we're excited about that. So pretty soon, you may see some ads for the Rods for Rattle the Cage.
Carl, before we say goodbye, just two quick questions. Will we get the band out and around maybe this summer, or a couple of upstate New York, maybe a New York City area show? Any plans to do a little showcasing of the new songs live here?
There is. And I'm in the process of doing some booking and, speaking to some venues. And we'll see. I mean, Anvil has been gracious enough to reach out for us to do their North American tour, which I don't know that we're going to be able to do it, but we will definitely do some dates. And, we're excited about doing that. It's just a question of what makes the most sense for us. But I want to play some of these songs live. And there's a dilemma. There's a problem with all the material we have. How do you condense that into an hour and 15 minutes? Like all these songs we have now, talking like 100 some songs. Like how do you get them down to 8 or 9 songs? It's tough.
Well, you have to do what Metallica did last time around. Every show they have a different set. So,
yeah.
So rehearse and get 70 of those 100 ready to go, and you make a set list via the day of the show. So.
Boy, that's a big undertaking they took, but God bless them.
Yeah.
I was going to comment on off topic, your project Kelakos that was released. Fascinating story. It's not the Rods, but first new album in 45 years. Like, this was your first band? Who are they? What kind of music is this? And how did you put a new album out 45 years later with the same guys?
Yeah, it's a crazy story. I had been looking for a band when I was playing in upstate New York. I went to San Francisco, LA, Phoenix, Nashville, New York, and I landed in Boston. In Boston, I had playing with Jack Stella in the Northern Lights, and Jack Stella was an arrogant guy. And finally, I was like, I got to get out of here. And the guys in Kelakos saw me and said, please come, just come. Don't go back. Come and we have a house. And so that's how we hit it off. So that's how we wound up working in Boston. Then we moved to New Jersey at the height of disco, rock band during disco, perfect timing, no gigs for a rock band then. And then we moved upstate, and that's where we wound up recording the album. And then, went our separate ways, and the bass player's become he's an ambassador. He was appointed by one of the George Bushes, and he's a Middle Eastern expert. He's on TV all the time. And Link and I had stayed in touch. And so he started writing, and I was playing drums on some of his originals. And that's just how it organically came about. And I have originally taken all of our tapes and had them bounced to digital. And so we put that compilation together of all the songs that Kelakos had recorded and put out uncorked, which received great reviews. So this album was kind of an organic, and I'm really proud of it. It's a really good album for what it is. It is definitely not the Rods, but it also showcases a different style that I can actually play the drums without clubbing them like I'm a Neanderthal. So
it's pretty cool. If I don't mind asking, you said you lived in Jersey. What town did you live in?
Lived in Matawan. Then I lived in Plainfield. And you got to love this, because we moved there because we wanted a record deal. And so we thought, well, if we're too expensive in the city, we'll move just outside of the city. Well, just outside of the city is still an hour commute because of traffic. So, we're really smart guys. And so now all of a sudden it's an hour. And as Link tells it, we went in and shopped our recordings, and the minute the door shut, you could hear it smashing into the garbage can. Like there was no way we were going to get a record deal by walking in and go, hey, we're a band and we made a record. So couldn't care less. But that was what we thought. We were very naive and hopeful. And but we're still all friends all these years later, which is amazing that the whole band was able to contribute to this.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool story.
Yeah. So, and also today will be probably the last. We have an editor for my book in England who's an attorney for the publisher, and she's given it back now. She's gone through the transcript, and I just have to proofread it to make sure that no little word here or anything I wanted to change. And then my book will be back to the publisher for formatting, and I'll be able to announce the release. So I'm excited to get my book done and out.
Is that your life story, your autobiography?
Autobiography. So it's a lot of info.
When do you think they'll be out?
I want to say, if I could get it turned in by Monday, I want to say maybe in 2 weeks we could be looking at pre-sales.
Okay. Well, when that hits, you know what? Let's tease the next one. We'll have Carl back, and we'll hear all the 45 years of the ups, downs, in between, and stuff, he couldn't say or publish earlier. So
all the dirt.
All right. Well, hey, Carl, again, thank you. January 19th, Rattle the Cage. Go out, and we learned today pre-sales matter. So pre-sale the rods, pre-sale all our favorite bands, support, go see them live, and buy merch off their website. Don't go to that venue and give those promoters and, everyone else with their hands out. Buy the shit through the bands. So
thank you. For putting up a new song. Thank you both. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, right. Carl. Thanks. Nice to talk to you.
Take care. You too.
All right.
Metal for Life.
Thank you for listening to Metal Mayhem ROC. Check out our website at metalmayhemroc.com for information on podcasts, archives, links to all our live radio shows, and all sorts of info. Please like, follow, and share with everyone, even your non-metal friends. And always remember to keep it heavy.